Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Kereen Connection. Tired of everyone telling you to find your passion, but no one telling you how? Welcome to the Kereen Connection, and I'm your host, Kereen, an attorney with a passion for empowering others to use their many talents and skills towards a path of self-discovery and alignment. Join me as I share my personal stories, professional insights, and practical tips, and how you can connect the dots between what you're great at and turning your passions into purpose. Let's connect. Welcome back, everyone. Today on the Kereen Connection podcast, we are sitting down with Jacquees Thomas. She is a filmmaker, storyteller, podcast producer, and host on the Black Effect Network. She currently produces several shows, and she is also the host of BLK LIT, a podcast dedicated to storytelling and the visionary behind Àbákẹ Books Café. Known in her neighborhood as Peace, she truly embodies what it means to align your passion with purpose. From her work as an independent filmmaker, her aim has always been to elevate Black artists to creating a community. Her journey is a masterclass in turning vision into impact. Welcome, Jacquees.
Wow. Thank you.
You are a busy woman.
I am.
And it took a while to get here, but I'm so glad that you're here.
Yeah.
Because not only are you all of those things, you are my friend.
I am. The most underrated ship. I am that more so than anything.
Yes. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I just want to start by saying you're doing all of this. Obviously, you're a busy person. How do you stay aligned?
How do I stay aligned? I have several practices I think that I do. Like at the beginning of the year, I usually choose a word that I want to meditate on. This year, last year was community. So
Okay.
I think I was able to manifest that through that meditation and through that focus and align with my community now. And this year was balance, which I don't think I have very well yet. Balancing out like work, family, love, more work. So I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of been able to help me to stay aligned when I have something that I'm focusing towards.
Yeah.
And something that I am creating in my life or something that I want to make sure that I manifest into my life. That allows me to align with, whatever it is that I'm purposefully, intentionally focusing on.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you from the outside looking in, it looked like you're balancing the hell out of all of it. So you're doing an amazing job.
Well, thank you.
So,
Those long nights don't necessarily agree, but
right.
Yes.
But a part of being on the Kereen Connection, it's about helping the audience connect the dots, right? In finding purpose. So I know you started out your career not as a podcast producer, but as a filmmaker, right? Or editor at that. So can you just tell us a little bit about your journey? How did you get here?
Podcasting kind of just fell into my lap. During COVID, when everything shut down, podcasting surged. Like podcasting became like the thing to do because you could do it. You could do it from home. You could do it remotely. I did it from everywhere. I traveled,
Yeah.
everywhere I could. Like if you had a laptop and a Wi-Fi, you could essentially make a podcast. And as a podcast producer, all I had to do was be like, check in, and make sure that it was going smoothly. But I think, and I'm grateful for that, but I think filmmaking was like just something that was just in me from day one.
Yeah.
It was acting first, and that led me to filmmaking and being behind the camera. And then I found more purpose in that. Both were passionate and both had passion, but I felt more purpose in making sure or being a part of telling the stories that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And then in podcasting, it was elevating the voices that I wanted to hear.
Yeah. Wow. And I see that there's like a common thread in terms of like you're still using this power you have within you of storytelling.
Yeah.
So how important is it to sort of weave all of that into all of the spaces that you're currently?
I think storytelling is like just so important.
Yeah.
And all of our stories are so valuable. And to be a part of creating space for stories, for authors, for writers, and all that support that community it just makes sense to me. And I, working and creating Àbákẹ Books and Cafe was kind of a way of putting all of those loves into one place. And putting them all under the one roof and saying, okay, well, I love authors, I love books, I love, media, I love coffee, and I love like making drinks. Like, how can I put those all into one space, but making sure that even all of those loves were present and celebrated, but community being like at the forefront.
And I think it's so important that you just sort of highlight all of these different passions that you have, that instead of sort of like having to choose one, right, or stay on course with just one, you found a way to sort of weave each passion into like some sort of cohesive place, which is now Àbákẹ. So let's talk about that. What is Àbákẹ? You just mentioned Books and Cafe, but what originated the idea of Àbákẹ?
Oh, well, again, during COVID, like I think my time that it was, it was a hard time, but it was also a very reflective time, and it allowed me to sit with myself and kind of ask myself questions that I never had to ask before. Like, if I can't make films, if I can't work in television, if I can't do this, what do I really want to do? What really am I inspired by? What gets my heart beating? What is that true passion? Like, what is that thing that and I had to narrow it down, right? So, and every time I did that, like it just kept coming back to me: poetry, words, literature, books. And I didn't quite know exactly what I was going to do with that. And then BLK LIT came. And then I pitched that to the Black Effect Network. Shout out to the Black Effect Network for greenlighting it and giving me my first chance at hosting a podcast. It just kept coming back to me: words, literature. And my grandmother was poetry. She was that person for me that kind of inspired and planted that seed. And when she passed away, that was like, a couple of years after COVID. So it kind of gave me another moment of reflection. And wanting to evaluate what legacy really truly means, and how I wanted to be intentional about creating legacy. And when she passed away, as when our ancestors do, different stories come to fruition. And my great aunt was like, "I need you to remember this name," and I was like, "What name? What are you talking about?" And then she told me the story of Àbákẹ, which is the name of my eldest known ancestor, which I had no idea. I lived 40 years not knowing about this story and knowing who this woman was. And she was a woman who came over as a slave on the last slave ship. And she was also the woman who started the line of my family in this country. So learning that kind of allowed me to redefine resilience. Because she got her freedom. She created my lineage. She also fought for reparations. Like, there's history of that, and then knowing that was a part of my family's story, and then knowing what Àbákẹ means, right? Which means to be loved, to be cherished, to be cared for in Yoruba. Like, I was just like, this is wow. And having that ancestral guidance, essentially, and feeling it more than ever, especially with my grandmother being in that realm. It felt very purposeful. It felt like it was all aligned. Go back to that word. It felt all aligned to kind of make something that represented and reflected all of those things.
And it's so interesting because even though you're already on this path of BLK LIT and like, feeling connected to words and storytelling through filmmaking and all of that, how impactful it was to sort of just know your lineage, right? To understand where it is that you come from. Because, as Black Americans in this country, you're so disconnected from your ancestry. And so just hearing you talk about how profound of an impact it was just to even know where you came from, and then to sort of continue to tell that story in keeping it alive in Àbákẹ Books and Cafe. How amazing is that? So tell me a little bit about that. Like, how important was it, do you think, to your journey to just even to know to get that piece of information?
It was really important. I have to segue for just a moment though. Because how cool is this? Like, this is like one of my dearest friends. And you are just like, she came prepared. She is a whole interview. This is different. I'm like, because we have our whole conversations and we be kikiing on the phone all the time. But right now, this is like, I'm like, this woman is professional. She's a whole professional right now. Let me,
you know what?
Let me be professional. Let me sit up. Like, holy.
I want to kiki with you, but there's so much about you that I just want to get out. I don't even want to keep it professional, to be quite honest, but like there's so much about you that's amazing that I want people to know how amazing you are and the things that you're doing. You know, like you said, you opened up Àbákẹ just this past February.
Yeah.
Black History Month, no less, right?
Yeah.
In a space and time where our history is sort of being repealed and the things that we fought for is being rolled back. And, you know, I remember even with my children, you know, I was very intentional this past Black History Month to do something with them because, I don't feel like the schools are doing enough in that space. And so how amazing it was. And I'm here like, where can I bring them to this museum? Da-da-da. And I'm like, hello? Like I have a whole friend that opened up an amazing cafe and bookstore that is literally for this very purpose, right? Highlighting and celebrating our voices and creating like such a harmonious space that is safe, for people to come and read about Black literature. So kudos to you. You did that.
Thank you.
And it's such an amazing space. You have to check it out. It's Àbákẹ Books Café, 2 Webster Ave, Jersey City. It's an amazing, amazing space. And I hopefully I can do something where I can just kind of highlight and show the space in the midst of all of that. But we, like I said, I had an opportunity to be in the space. And it's such a sense of community. It's such a sense of like what you said you manifested last year. So all of last year, I was there with you embarking on this journey of like, oh, I want to, of it just being like a little store. That could have been anything, right? Could have been a liquor store, could have been anything. And you're like, I like this space. And you went and saw the space. And I was literally there with you from the inception of just the idea. To now being able to see it come to fully a realized space and to now see, I'm sure the vision of what it is now is perhaps even bigger than what you envisioned. So let's talk about that a little bit. Did you anticipate that you would have created this safe haven and community wellness center, for Black voices that you created in your neighborhood?
I think if you would have asked me this like 10 years ago, I probably would have been like, I'm going to build a studio and I want to build a film studio right next door to Tyler Perry's. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think my goals were rooted in my passion and they made sense to me at that time. But I think what I wasn't really focusing on was why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why am I building this and who am I building it for? And when I started to thinking about Àbákẹ and creating it and what I wanted people to feel when they come into the space. I think Toni Morrison once said, she was like, people don't remember what you say or what you do. They remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
And that became very, very important to me. And shout out to Gina Prince Braithwaite too, because she also planted the seed in my mind too when we interviewed her in a podcast once. And she was like, harmony. Harmony is the most important thing in life.
Yeah.
But especially in production. So I think 10 years ago, my answer would have been different only because I didn't really truly know what community meant. Like, I didn't really have that.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to Jersey City, because Jersey City, like, really, and like, especially moving from Brooklyn, I moved from Brooklyn kicking and screaming. I did not want to move from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that I did, because the community that I was able to meet, is just so many women and small business owners, that it kind of inspired a whole new different kind of energy around me. And wanting to create a space that had all of those things underneath it, but had at the forefront people. Yeah. Right? Our stories, what we're telling, how we're sharing together, what we're sharing with one another. And to be able to create that has inspired, like you said, it changed even like having it now and seeing it as like an evolving thing.
Yeah.
It has made me realize like, oh, the dreams that I had 10 years ago, they weren't far-fetched.
Right.
They're not too big. They're not crazy. They just needed to be rooted.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like right now I'm rooted.
Yeah.
I am rooted in purpose. I am rooted in knowing how and why I was received this purpose.
Yeah.
And how I can also share it.
Yeah.
And yeah, Àbákẹ is just cute, man. It has
dope.
it has like this really amazing feeling to be able to see something that an idea, right? You have an idea and then you think people are going to connect to it in this way, and then they do.
Yeah.
And then they do. And you're like, wow.
Let's not also underestimate that a part of the connection is just you. Because, you're not, it's not your Peace, your name Peace is not accidental. You literally, you give people that and you feel peace when you enter into that space. And I've been in that space when it's closed. Yeah. And people are still knocking on the door to come in, It's like they want to have that safe haven. Yeah. They want to go somewhere where they can feel, safe. And that for everyone, not just Black, people, but for everyone. And Jersey City is such a diverse neighborhood. And you have support from everyone. And so it's really, really beautiful to see. So, it's interesting that, even though you didn't see it going this way, all of the things that you've done throughout your journey has definitely brought you in alignment to this space.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And also too, like, I want to also say like, yes, Black literature and Black authors are at the forefront. One, because that's where I live. That's where my heart is. But when I curate the books that go on the shelves, I try to make sure that I'm reflecting the community as well.
Yeah.
Like we have books that are written in Spanish. We have books that are written in Italian. We have books that are from Indian backgrounds, from all different types and different places. And I don't necessarily do that to say, oh, I want to be diverse. It's not that lipid. It's more so I want to make sure that I am finding stories and finding literature that reflects the community, but also has the values of what and the morals and the energy that also are in the space.
Yeah. So and I think you've definitely done, you feel that when you walk into the space. It feels very inclusive. And not like you said, you're not it's like an effort thing. It's just really a part of who you are. And so a lot of people, different types of people gravitate to you because you create that safety for them.
I try. I can't say. I gotta take that word out of my vocabulary.
Which word?
Try.
No, yeah, girl, you're doing it.
Yeah,
you're doing it hard. Yeah, I'm like so proud of you, And I tell you that. I think I tell you that all the time, but I definitely will continue to tell you that so I am very, very proud of you. You're doing amazing things. Thank you. So with Àbákẹ, where do you see it going? Like, what is your plans for the future for Àbákẹ?
Well, it's tiered. It's kind of tiered. Like this is like the first tier. Someone asked me that the other day, and they're like, "Where are you?" If you had to say, if you were like between 1 and 10, and I'm a little hard on myself. I'll admit, like I'm always evaluating and thinking about like how I can improve. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to be present and say, okay, well, yes, I can improve in this way and that way, but at the same time, I know that there's a goal and there's things ahead of me that I want in a space that I want to create and things that I want to achieve. So this is just like the very, very first step in order to get to those, in order to cultivate the dream that I had from a child.
Yeah.
Which is to not only just, be this kind of protector of storytellers and stories. I feel like, and it's funny because when I was a filmmaker, I still am a filmmaker, but as a filmmaker, you are the storyteller. Like you are the person that's guiding that story. And sometimes, and in my case, sometimes I'm also the writer, and that is the story that is from my mind's eye. But I also feel like I'm just, part of my purpose and part of why I'm here is to protect.
Yeah.
Is to protect the stories that I find that we need to share and that are important.
Yeah.
So like now when I think about like what are the goals for Àbákẹ, like it's two tiered because with bookstores and with books and just the way that things are going in the world, the reason why I made it a bookstore and a cafe is because sometimes books don't sell, right? Quote unquote. I think they do. People, they have been, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been a surgence of people reading more since COVID and in the last couple of years. But normally bookstores have an issue with, creating and sustaining profit.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, how do I maintain that? And then to me, I love coffee, right? Coffee is my jam. So I was like, well, I need to pair these two together, which means I need to redefine coffee and how coffee is consumed.
Yeah.
So that's one part of it in order to create and make sure that the revenue aspect of it is strong. I think of coffee as wine. Coffee can be treated in such a beautiful, beautiful way, and it has a story from every different region. Like if you go to Tanzania, if you go to Kenya, the coffee is different. Like the roots are different, the families, the farming.
Yeah.
Like it all has stories that are connected to it too. So bridging that gap was important to me to have a product to also go with the purpose.
Yeah.
And I always found that kind of hard for me because I was like, I don't want to sell anything, I'm not really a salesperson, but just like, I think anything that's good, you don't really have to sell.
Absolutely.
You don't really,
Yeah.
you just offer it. You just put it out there, just like the books that are on the shelves. I don't sell books. I don't have to sell books, because the avid book reader knows what they are looking to read or have like an idea of what type of stories they want to read or have an affection for certain types of genres and titles or whatever. But the person that doesn't know, it's an exploration.
Right.
There's this beautiful adventure that comes with finding a book that resonates with you.
Yeah.
So I just put them up there.
Yeah.
Right. And I answer questions. People ask questions, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And even if they don't know what they want to read, I talk to them. I get to know them.
Yeah.
So then I can guide their adventure. I don't sell books.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that because when I'm in the space as well, I don't necessarily go in there knowing I'm looking for something. If you had asked me if I went into a public library, and back in the days, you go to a public library to like pick out a book and you're walking down the various aisles, you're going to find me in the science fiction areas, There's no science fiction area, but in the space that you've created, it pulls you in because as you move from one book to the next book, they're all very interesting. And I was saying to you the other day, I'm like, how do you, like the way how you curated these books on the shelf it's impressive because like each book, I'm like, I can sit here and literally read every single one of them, They all kind of pull a certain different level of interest, even though it's something that you perhaps wouldn't have chosen, before you walked into the store. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah. And I think it's also too is like how you position a book, right? Like I put all the kids' books at the bottom because kids that's their eye level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I only put like one out for them because you also know,
right.
They look through the pages and go crazy. But it's done that way on purpose.
Yeah.
And then also putting some books forward and cover forward and facing forward or stacking them. And I think there's an aesthetic,
there's totally an aesthetic. I mean, I think that's a storytelling part of you that's kind of coming out even in the positioning of the books. You can't even help yourself.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, eventually we're planning to, roll out some other events where we do storytelling live, where different people within the community send us their stories. And you come in, we have a theme, and you will send your story to us, and then you come and you perform it or you read it in front of your community.
Yeah.
And I think that's a way of like sharing within the neighborhood and getting to know each other.
Yeah.
In a kind of unorthodox way. Which I'm really excited for that, and it's called My City Stories, and I plan to do it hopefully more than just in Jersey City, but to travel with it and collect stories, and it'll be essentially my chicken noodle soup of the soul kind of idea, where these collection of stories from different
oh man,
parts
that is
of
so
the world.
amazing. I love that. A big part of why I even created this platform, the Kereen Connection, is just this idea about, it's not necessarily, where people end up, the destination. It's always about the journey, and just hearing people's journey to get to where they are, and still transitioning through different life journees, right? Life transitions. To hear that is what connects all of us. And I think, especially now where there's such a divide, to be able to find human connection between everyone makes it so much easier to build community. And the community doesn't necessarily have to just look like one thing. Community is just your life story and connecting to another person on any level, where there's like a connecting point. So that's beautiful that you're actually doing that. And that level of connection is woven in to Àbákẹ's Cafe. Àbákẹ.
I like how you say it. It's cute.
Àbákẹ. But as much as you've tried to, your lived experience is always surrounding uplifting Black voices and, inclusivity and, making sure that every voice is heard. I'm sure there have been times where, stereotypes or just the rooms that you're in doesn't necessarily reflect, your purpose or what you're trying to do or who you are as a person. How do you tackle that?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's hard. It's interesting because I feel like at the core, we all have like this desire to have balance and, be educated and be able to articulate and be a part of something more, that's not superficial.
Yeah.
Right. And the superficiality of it all, more time leads than, the depth.
Yeah.
Or this need to kind of sell something or the need to, be popular becomes more prevalent than the need to be present or the need to, connect and be real, essentially, right? So it does show up in a lot of spaces where I'm like, man, like we could easily have both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could easily do this and that.
Yeah.
This can have the attention that it needs, and that can have the attention that it needs. But it's like that quote that says, what you focus on grows, right? And I feel like a lot of the spaces that I am in, sometimes what is focused on is what sells, what's popular, who's popular, versus getting into some evaluation of what is needed, right? Like back in the day, you'd be like, okay, all right, you had Sesame Street and like,
right.
You had Lauryn Hill and,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Nowadays, it's like, where's the and?
Yeah.
Like, or where's the...
Yeah.
Where's the...
Because no one is motivated to do the other thing, right? Because our definition of what is success has definitely changed.
It doesn't sell as fast.
And and when you in a world now that's driven by creatives, right? Or at least the world that we are in, driven by creatives, it's sort of like this this battle of where does creativity start and stop, and how do you define success, right? For instance, like, art isn't something that may, when Picasso first started drawing his paintings, nobody would have thought that it would have gained the success that it has over the years, but it was art and it was his creativity that created something without anybody, without the followers, without the views, without, with all of that. So it's kind of like, it kind of take away the artistic thread, I guess. A little lost for words, but you get the point. You get what I'm trying to say. Like, we just need to redefine how we define success and not take away like our artistic capabilities in evaluating it.
I mean, the first when I hear you say that, I think about like, I think about corporations, right? Because I think no matter, like, people are what and how the the world works, and the corporations are what create the economy of that world. But if the corporations aren't focused on developing and nurturing the community, then where does that leave the people?
Yeah.
Right? And if we don't evaluate like these companies that have essentially all of this power, and if the people who have the power aren't evaluating themselves and the impact that they're creating, then we kind of are in a strange loop. We create this strange loop of like commodity and like, I don't know, like I don't even know what I'm saying, but I think it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's just this, it's an imbalance.
Yeah,
like we have to figure it out. Like how do we make sure, how do we hold corporations and politicians and government accountable? Like, because otherwise then the people suffer.
And without thinking of it even on that grand scale of thinking about, it's always sort of like so aloof to think about the corporations and the system, right? You're operating in a space that could potentially, that is corporate, but still creative. And you're doing it in a way that you're still aligning your passions, making impacting and creating purpose, right? So we all have this capability to do that in our own lives. And I always think it starts with you, right? Yes. And hopefully through you, other people can be inspired to do that in their own lives. What plug for the Kereen Connection. But like, what advice would you have for my connectors who want to be able to find that sense of alignment in navigating all the challenges that you just sort of like, hinted to, but be able to still walk in their purpose? How would they go about doing that?
As much as I just brought up corporations and stuff like that, but I don't think at the same time, I feel like if we take our power back, right, and essentially like creating Àbákẹ or pitching BLK LIT, taking my power back and saying like, well, this is what I want to see in the world, and willing to take the risk to say, this is what I want to see in the world. I don't see it. I'm going to create it. Yeah. And just believe in that the fact that the people around me also want this too.
That's so powerful.
Like just take your power back. Yeah. You have it. We have the power to create the things that we want to create, or we wouldn't receive the idea. Yeah. There's power in just receiving the idea. And
not that this is going to be a marker or should be something they look for, but the fact that it's so also well received is evidence that people feel the same way.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're connectors. I love that. I think, find what it is that aligns with you and don't be afraid to connect with it.
Yeah. And one of the other important things that you said that I want to also highlight, and I've talked about this before in previous episode, is finding your why. You have to sit and ask yourself, like, the why. Why am I doing this? Why do I want this in my life? Why do I want to see this in the world? Because that's what's going to give you the longevity and the consistency. Otherwise, it's going to be, burnt out in another untapped, idea.
Yeah, but also it doesn't, without the why, you can get jaded.
Yes.
Very quickly.
In another sense of the word, yes, jaded.
Yeah, you get pretty jaded because then it's like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm working hard, I'm putting in all these hours, I have this job, but it's not aligning with what you want it to do, and it's not connecting you with the people that you want to work with, or whatever is happening, but it's just not coming to fruition. Yeah, whatever it is that you actually see in your mind's eye, and if you don't know why you're doing X, Y, and Z, it probably won't. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I mean, maybe it will. I'll speak for myself, but it didn't for me. Yeah. Until I figured out the why.
So find your why. And with that, we're going to wrap. But I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your very, 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 very busy but aligned schedule to come and hang out with me on the Kereen Connection. Where can they find Àbákẹ Cafe? Is there a website? How can they find you if they want to buy the coffee, book the space, give you the spoken word or their storytelling of their lives? How do they connect with you?
Well, everything's on the website, AbákẹBooks.com. We are on Instagram at Àbákẹ.cafe. And then you can also find me on Instagram as well at _that's peace.
So Jacquees, with all that you have going on, obviously a very accomplished person. How what's going on with you being snatched up? Where can where do you hang
up?
Where do you hang out with for people to snatch you up?
Snatched up. Dang.
What's your type? What's going on? Like, what's going on with you?
Ladies, let me tell you something. No, honestly.
First of all, let's start with your type. What is your type?
My type. I don't know if I have a type necessarily. I like, people who have I like beautiful things. I ain't even gonna lie. You know what I mean? Who doesn't, right? I love beautiful things and beautiful people, and aesthetics matter, but only in the sense that you have to be attracted to the person that you want to be with. But I don't know if I necessarily have a type. I tend to date women who can cook very well. I know that sounds crazy, and I shouldn't say that, but I have been blessed. I have been blessed with women who can cook their asses off, and I am spoiled.
Yeah.
So I think if I had met someone who could cook, I don't know if that would work.
Yeah. Where you find women? Like, where do you go? Or do you go anywhere to find
The last woman I dated came to a Friendsgiving that I threw at my house. So I ain't go anywhere.
Right. So how you gonna find these? How people gonna find you if you don't go anywhere, Jacquees? I guess they gotta come to Àbákẹ.
Sometimes.
Right.
If you text me, I'll come over. But no, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, in work, I don't typically date people that I work with.
Yeah.
I can get messy, so I don't do that. But no, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, sometimes I'm just walking down the street or at an event and I meet someone. Yeah.
But it's
very
interesting.
rare.
With all of this, with all the alignment that you have,
Why haven't
where
I
is
aligned
love?
with
Where is love in that alignment? I know. First of all, let me just say,
look up to God. She asking you a question.
Let me just say that you are a very loved person, so you're not lacking love. So that there's no mistake there. But in terms of interpersonal love with somebody that's your person.
Yeah, I don't know.
How intentional are you with that?
I am neglecting that part. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I think if I am with someone, it'll either be someone that I know, because where do you find time for new people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be intentionally dating someone new, and to find out what they like, what they do. You know what I mean? I had this one woman, she told me her favorite food was breakfast. And I was like, okay, well, the cafe opens at 8 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How am I going to do that? So it's hard. It's very hard. I was like, well, sometimes we eat breakfast for dinner. That's the only thing I can think of.
Wait, what was the word you say you're manifesting for this year?
Balance.
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 You got to find the balance.
I got to find the balance.
To sprinkle a little love balance in there.
There's someone that I would be interested in, but it's hard. It's at my big age too. You know what I mean? Finding someone who is single that doesn't carry their baggage. You know what I mean? Because some people is all right, I know shit happened, but damn.
Right.
You know what I mean? How much longer are you going to talk about this?
Yeah.
I'm sensitive. But at the same time, I'm not. Because it's after a certain time period of life, of living, those things, you either have to let it go.
Yeah, I know you don't dwell.
Or move on.
Yes.
Something has to happen. Something has to give. Or, they're married or they're engaged or, so you're like, okay, well. And I can't date young women. So you're like, where does that leave you? You know what I mean? Anything between 21 and 30 is just shot in the dark.
Yeah. I feel you there. Because
it's
the age gap, it matters.
The age gap
matters.
is a thing.
Yeah, it's
a thing. And I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I tried, but I can't do it.
I mean, so the gap is it's not on the age, it's the awareness, it's the maturity, it's the finances, it's a lot.
Oh, You said it. The finances, that plays a part too. That plays a part too.
Yeah.
Like,
how important is that for you though? Like your partner's finances.
Well, it's kind of important. I'm not saying that I won't date someone who doesn't have or can't match or doesn't have more than what I have. I won't say that. Yeah, I mean, I have. Yeah. But it's hard. It becomes difficult because then I'm not a traditionalist. Like I'm not into like the patriarchal systems of dating and relationships. So you play this role, I play that role. I'm not into that. You know what I mean? But when you don't have and the other person has, it almost immediately puts you into roles.
Yeah.
And that becomes an imbalance.
Yeah.
So even though I do, it hasn't really worked out very well. But I also, I love when I love. Like I don't think you really have the opportunity to. They say, you don't really have that opportunity to be like, oh, let me check out your savings. I guess you do.
Yeah, you can. I mean,
but at the same time, things happen, life happens, and you just fall for who you fall for.
Right.
But it does play a part. Like ideally, I'm trying to say this without saying. Ideally, I would love to date someone who is at least. What'd you say? Not a bum. I wouldn't. Yeah, but just someone who's like financially educated. Yeah. Right. Like, okay, if you don't have and you're still out here overspending or living outside of your means, then that to me reflects immaturity. Right. Right. So it's like, okay, well.
Right.
What do we do from here?
Right.
And like, how do we build if you are still not creating your own foundation?
Do you have any books in the store for that? Because maybe you need to put some books in the store.
We have The Psychology of Money. We have, what is that book? How to Money.
Okay.
Yes, we have a couple of books.
How about dating books? You have some dating books in there?
No, but I thought about doing a speed dating night based off of your book preferences. Right? So, because then you kind of get a little insight of who the person is based off of what they read and what they gravitate towards. So I think that could be fun.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. I can't host it because I'm going to have to be in it.
Your table is behind the bar.
I need to be a part of this.
We're going to manifest that into the balance this year.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But I'm not. I just had a baby. Like my baby is Àbákẹ. It's not even a month years old. You know what I mean? So my attention is very, 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 very focused. My next season of BLK LIT is quickly approaching. Yeah. So yeah, my energy is kind of not really there. So I think whoever I date has to be someone who gets it. Yeah. Someone who is working towards something themselves. Yeah. And can see how our lives can work together.
I mean, well, this is a nice ad. Ladies. And with that, we are going to wrap it up.
Now you're making me nervous. How I'm nervous at the end.
Join us. Thanks for joining us, and join us next time on the Kereen Connection. Let's connect. Thank you guys for connecting with me today. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to my channel, The Kereen Connection. To connect with me, you can email me at thekereenconnection@gmail.com. And don't forget that sometimes your passion whispers before it roars. And if you're listening closely, the next episode might be where it gets louder. Let's connect. Push it to the left,